Wow, this is getting wild. As we have heard for the first time in a while, Ross Atkins break the silence surrounding Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s future in Toronto. And what he has to say has Jays fans both fired up and a little bit concerned. We're going to break that down as well as discuss some other new interesting quotes from some players as well surrounding Vladdy, as well as some other spring training updates. Before we get to that, folks, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content. Thank you guys for your continued support. We're about to hit, and probably by the time this video is up, has hit 15,000 subscribers. So thank you guys for that. And we're going to keep you up to date all spring training long, all season long. So make sure to smash that subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot to go over today. Now, I made a video earlier today just on some general notes surrounding spring training, some big updates, regarding injuries, all these different things. And now we heard Ross Atkins, like I said in the video earlier, who's going to come out in a press conference, and he revealed some interesting things surrounding Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And it's weird because on one side of the fence, it's almost encouraging. And then the other side of the fence, there's some skepticism here surrounding Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s future in Toronto, but there's also some optimism. So let's dive into a few of the different things here. So we're going to start with this. Blue Jays GM Ross Atkins and the Blue Jays discussions with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We have worked exceptionally hard to find a way to keep him here for an extended period beyond this year, and we will continue to do that. Now, we all know that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is at the point now where we are a few days away from Vladdy being, I guess, technically entering the season without a contract, and then him being essentially a free agent. Because if he doesn't get extended by that date, you could basically call him a free agent at the end of next season, guaranteed, because they're not going to extend him. And he says, we have worked exceptionally hard to find a way to keep him here for an extended period, and we'll continue to do that. Does not sound encouraging, as we are now five days away from the deadline. He doesn't come out and say we're very confident. He doesn't do any of that. There's some more things. He also says, and this is kind of the scary part, the Jays will be very respectful of Guerrero's desire to cut off talks if no deal is in place by Tuesday, which is fair. And of course, Tuesday's first full squad workout, and understand his reasons. But he adds, we will never close the door. This one right here had fans a little bit, I would say, not only intrigued, but concerned a little bit. The verbiage he is using is one, very safe, we should say. And that doesn't sound like someone who's confident they're going to extend Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to a long-term deal. Now, I do understand the fact that he's going to be respectful and very respectful of Guerrero's desire to cut off talks if no deal is in place. But not only being, I understand that, but to say we will never close the door. He's speaking in the future as if they already know they're not going to get the deal done with Vladdy. And then you go back to this comment and how they've worked exceptionally hard, will continue to do that. Clearly, at this point, they do not have a plan in place, at least a contract, extension in place with Vladdy. Now, we've heard from Ben Nicholson-Smith, Shai Davidi. They dropped an article recently. We know that Ben Nicholson-Smith and Shai are going to, they said that basically Vladdy's going to take it down to the very last day. So at this juncture, there's no agreement in place. And we were all hoping by the time this was going to happen. I mean, when the deadline was set a month or two ago, everyone was hoping, most Jays fans at least, myself included, that Vladdy was going to have an extension in place before players started to report in general. Now, obviously, pitchers have reported today, catchers reported today. We're seeing some other players, squeak in there as well. Bichette, Will Wagner, no Vladdy sighting as of yet, but it's a very intriguing situation now because we were hoping this was going to get done. It isn't done. And then Vlad said we will continue to, or Ross said on Vlad, will continue to, do that. We're never going to close the door. It just gets very scary. And they asked him and they probed, shout out to, I believe, Keegan Matheson, whoever actually asked this question, and asked for some more details. He was hesitant to get into any level of detail about Vladdy, but did address the fast approaching deadline. And that's when he went on to say, so he basically was avoiding the question while the classic Ross Atkins. We've been around now. We know what Ross Atkins. I mean, I prefer the way Mark Shapiro speaks. Ross Atkins is extremely corporate. He's extremely, safe. Whereas Mark Shapiro is a bit more personable. But again, we'll be very respectful of Vlad and his decision, which is interesting. Now, some other things to go over here is, of course, the John Schneider quote we had earlier today. A couple other Ross Atkins things here. We all want Vlad to be here. Ross has said that, and I've said that. You just keep working towards it, and hopefully it happens. But our conversations have been really about this year and how we can get better. And I said in the video earlier today how this is kind of the quote of someone who, A, isn't going to reveal too much, but B, is a little bit, skeptical about actually getting Vladdy here. You pair that with the fact that they say they're going to keep working hard and that they have worked hard. They haven't worked hard enough to actually give him a number that he wants. Like, it shouldn't have even gotten to this point in the first place. And again, the fact that he even said we will never close the door, meaning that if they don't get the extension done, they're going to be respectful, but they're not going to close the door. The door shouldn't even be available to be closed, if that makes sense. Like, Vladdy should have been extended. I'm going to keep clamoring about this. And if he goes into this spring training, the first full squad workout on February 18th, I'm going to be irate if he doesn't have an extension, because you're entering a season now where with every win you get, with all the, the ups and downs of the year, in the back of your head, your two best players in Bo and Vladdy are pending free agents to which any other team, whether that be a team like the Boston Red Sox, New York Mets with Steve Cohen, and there's been reports from Bob Nightingale that the Mets are already positioning themselves to be open to giving Vladimir Guerrero Jr. a blank check to come to New York if that is the case. Now, I'm not going to go there yet. We know Vladdy said he wants to be in Toronto, and the Jays clearly haven't offered the amount that he wants. Now, is it going to be a ridiculous amount? Probably, because of the contracts to Shohei, the contracts to Juan Soto, even the contract to Bregman, albeit a lot of it now, details came out, were deferred. You don't have a choice at this point. They have to go ahead and do it. If they enter this season without an extension, and by this season, I mean literally 5 days from now, because that is the deadline when the first full squad workout is, it will be an absolute unmitigated disaster. And that's kind of the fact about it. And Hazel May says, asked whether he's been in daily contact with Vladdy's camp regarding negotiations. Anything I share decreases the likelihood of us getting something done, which is our goal. I can say we have worked very hard and has Barry Praver I assume, which is, the guy they used to, I assume that's the Jays, extension guy, to find a way if there is one. So once again, another comment that is extremely concerning. They are not, now again, they could be very confident behind the scenes and they don't want to, say anything in public to give Vladdy's camp any more leverage. But to say at the end, if there is one, is basically him hedging his bets a little bit here. And do I think Vladdy gets an extension done? I've been very vocal on this channel about thinking that, yes, I do ultimately believe that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. will get an extension done and they're going to bite the bullet when it comes down to it. We know Ben Nicholson-Smith, Shai Davidi came out and said it's going to come down to the very last minute for the Toronto Blue Jays and Vladdy's camp because they want to get the maximum amount of leverage, similar to trade deadlines when, Ross Atkins and the Blue Jays, any trade deadline for any sport and any team, they obviously wait till the end. That's when the best offer comes in. But man, oh man, is there going to be some scary conversations if they don't get Vladdy done. And to say that, if there is one, I mean, there has to be one. This is your homegrown star. No one is going to come watch the games, or a lot less people without Vladimir Guerrero Jr. there. And if he walks in free agency, can you imagine an offseason next year with Vladdy and Bo both walking in free agency? Absolute disaster. Now, to end with some positivity, José Berríos just came out and said he wants to be here. That's the way he's been talking to me. He wants to be here. Toronto Blue Jays fans love him. They want him on the team. Vladdy, of course, José Berríos is one of the few players who actually are under contract for the next handful of seasons and will be directly impacted by whether or not Vladdy extends. Like Gausman, his contract's going to expire. Bassett, after this year, is going to expire, or after next year is going to expire. You have, of course, Bichette, he's expiring. A lot of these guys in the the MLB caliber players, Mike Scherzer's going to retire probably, or maybe resigns with the Jays at age 41, depending on how this season goes. At least this is a little bit of positivity. The way he's been talking to, José Berríos, and they're obviously very close. So there is some positives there. But man, oh man, is this a very scary point. The verbiage is not what I wanted to hear today. I was hoping to hear some confidence, we've been making, great progress. We think a deal will get done, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But ladies and gentlemen, things are going to get very, very interesting. We're going to keep you up to date with all the latest news. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let us know down below. Are you concerned about this deal? Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you later. Cheers.